All right, so this week has been very interesting. Very interesting. I found out some very interesting things this week. I found out some very interesting things this week. I found out some very interesting things this week around observables and some other things. I found out some very interesting things this week around some very interesting concepts to me. I found out some very interesting things this week about some very interesting concepts to me. I make these claims and I tell people that there's reasons why they might want to use stuff. Make these claims and I tell people that they do that. So, a colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me a way that they use Rg. Colleague of mine showed me he showed me the do that flickering stuff again this time. He showed me the I want to use it this way. I don't want to use it the other way. I want to use it this way. I don't want to use it the other way. I just realized that I don't have the actual light on, so all you're seeing is my face. I just realized that I don't have the actual light on, so all you're seeing is my face. I just realized that I don't have the actual light on, so all you're seeing is my face. I just realized that probably acts a little bit better. So he showed me where they use Rg.Plugins.Popups to circumvent meeting a dialogue service, right? So you basically just write some grid, show me where a dialogue service, right? You basically just write some definition, some grid, show me where a dialogue service, you basically just write some grid, 2 rows, you basically just write some grid, 2 rows, you basically just write some grid, 2 rows, probably 2 columns, if I had to guess, 2 rows, probably 2 regular standard iOS type alert. Nothing regular special or magic about it. iOS type alert. Nothing. But what we're doing is we're going to use that in place of the platform setup, so that you can. But what we're doing is we're going to use that in place of the platform setup. Kind of give it a custom style. What we're doing is we're going to use that in place of as easy setup. Kind of give it a custom style and custom stuff. But the part that I'm talking about now, style and custom stuff. But the part that has less to do with this. But part of it is more about the fact that it has less to do with different tools rather than just about the fact that it has less to do with different rather than just a platform called Rg.Plugins.Popup, rather than just to do pop-up pages called Rg.Plugins.Popup, navigation stack, concept pages. So it really kind of does a lot of navigation stack, concept pages. So it really kind of does a lot of navigation stack, concept this pattern. So it really kind of does a lot. I've seen about 3 or 4 people in my use this pattern the last year. Kind of does a lot. I've seen about 3 or 4 people that use this pattern. So we would have probably some label. So we would have probably some. It's gonna have like label. So we would have probably some 1 row. So it's gonna be in the first row. So we would have probably some 1 row. So it's gonna be in the first row. So there's a question like watching people code like. So it's going to be in the first row. So there's a question. I still have what code? I'm so oh, the sound? So there's a question. Again? Still have what code? I'm so oh, the sound? So there's a question. Again? Still have what code? I'm so oh, the sound? So there's a question. Again? Still have what code? I'm so oh, the sound? So there's a question. Again? Still have what code? I'm so oh. All right, we'll see if my sound comes back better now. I have no idea what's causing that because I don't hear it in my headset. So it's got to be something with the gear. I'll have to play with that more. I'll probably play with that tomorrow. Make sure that that's gone. See if my sound comes back. Yeah, it sounds better now. Okay. So I'll start from the beginning. Had a colleague show me a way that they're using RG plugin pop-ups to display dialogues, and explicitly using the pop-up page to do it. Now, the concept of using the pop-up page to do it is not all that odd to me. It was more so the way that he was doing the control flow with the tasks and all of that fun stuff. So what I'm doing here is I'm just setting up a grid. So we'll have 2 labels. We'll have 3 labels, right? Because it's just going to simulate a iOS dialog, right? So we don't have to depend on a dialog service. We can do our own thing. Let me actually turn my headset. So we would have some label at the top. It's probably going to do this, and it's going to do grid.column span, and it's going to span 2 columns, right? So this is going to be row 1. This is going to be column 1. This is column 0, column 1, right? So you would have some label. We'll just give it some default text right now, and we'll say okay, and we'll say equals cancel, right? So now what this should do, if I can write code, which is questionable some days, this should just display some space on the screen. So this is an entire page that will simulate just a dialogue. Some people that I were talking to were talking for performance reasons. They opt not to do any real in-depth MVVM with these pages. I can kind of agree with that concept. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, and just deal with it. So just kind of showing what that could do. So, okay, let's take the same grid over to here. We're going to dump this grid here because this is going to be more of a confirmation, right? So we'll go ahead and take the X names too. Cancel, so those buttons go away. That'll be confirmed. All right, because I'm actually going to wire up these buttons today. And we're going to do that at the grid level. Pretty sure the grid should respect that. And we're going to take this whole stack layout and we're going to remove it. Okay, and we're going to see what happens. This is going to be X message. Oh, okay. Probably should have had like a title bar. Yeah, the pop-ups are, it's such a good library. Like, so I got asked while on a panel, like, what are my favorite libraries that to depend on other than my own? I'll say that RG pop-ups is definitely like among the top. It's just such a good experience. Like, I've never seen it be the problem of my problem. Like, anything that was a problem as a result of the RG plugin was my fault, not because the plugin did something wrong, right? Like, I coded badly around it, and it's just a good experience. So we'll only have a message for this right now. We won't even have a title. Event clicked. Are we not getting pharmacist? Are we not getting pharmacist? Pharmacist should know what that is. There should be RX visual does not contain found assembly. Do I need to like rebuild? I think I do. Clean solution. Let's do a full-on NuGet restore. Okay. Yeah, I know. There's one for Prism, and it's funny. Like, I've got to-dos on my list. I was actually talking to somebody on my on one of the libraries today about it. They need an implementation of it, and I just haven't been able to get to it. So they started an implementation for one of the libraries I support, because like I've got an implementation, but I did it for a project, and it's not that the implementation was bad, it's that it's not going to work the way I want it to work. So I really have to sit down and like figure out how I'm going to do this properly, to cause as little problems as possible. Still, Pharmacist has not picked itself back up, so we'll build solution again. Maybe Pharmacist will wake up. Pharmacist is not going to wake up. What did I do to break Pharmacist? There we go. Dialog tests. Load, fail, loaded, reload. So I apologize for this. I've been playing with .NET New templates, and this is a project that I created from a .NET New template. So I'm assuming that my .NET New template is broken. Yep, it's broken. Okay, that's fine. I don't care about that right now. It's removed. Still no Pharmacist. Oh, the whole thing is bugged. Alright, so we'll do the fun thing. We'll bin the OBJ, we'll delete them both. Take that back. Go do another NuGet refresh, because obviously it isn't me. Or obviously it is me. Okay, so now we're going to go look at Pharmacist and see what's going on. I see the dialog G props, so it's building it. Debug, net standard. Alerts. Yeah, okay, so there's extensions, base pop-up, confirmation, .g.c. It's just, okay, so it seems like Pharmacist just isn't picking it up. Oh, man. You know, when you start to do something and you want it to work, and then you go make a simple change and stuff stops working, edit dialog. What? Oh, please don't tell me I'm using package reference. I'm not using package references for this. I know I'm not, because Pharmacist flat out wouldn't work, and it wouldn't have just executed like 10 minutes ago. All right, so we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're just going to go through and blow away pretty much everything. Where are we? We're in demo. No, we're going to be in... I'm in my sandbox. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Yeah, I know it's cut off a little. I'm gonna fix that in a second. It's just all you're missing is really nothing. I can actually shrink it up a little bit so that you can see that you're not missing anything fun. Yeah, and the screen is flickering, which is what I'm really not liking. And it's all because of the way I have my setup. So I'm just gonna assume that OBS doesn't want to play nice in the sandbox. Alright, so where were we? We were looking at dialog interactions. Alright, so bin, OBJ, go away, and then we'll kill the bin in the OBJ folder here. Those can go away. Now if I rebuild Rider, should pick up everything because everything has to rebuild. It's fresh cache. I'm still not getting Pharmacist. I was not having this problem 20 minutes ago. All right, back to the good old-fashioned way of doing stuffs. Time to stop. So I'll just use the ReactiveUI command binding. Confirm command x dot confirm name of x. Oh, hold on. See, now that's the bigger problem. X dot. Oh wait. Oh, okay. Confirm dot click dot. What's the proper? There should be a clicked event. There should be an event here for me. It's a button, right? Oh, derp. I was gonna say, wait a minute. There's an event here. I should be able to get to it. All right, so now there should be a dot clicked. So now that I've got a clicked, I'll do a dot dispose with view bindings. All right, so that'll wire up the confirm, and then we'll do cancel command. And I'm doing a lot of wiring of stuff up real quick just to get to the overall point, and I'll get to the code that I want to talk about in a second because I kind of just want you to see it work as well. Cancel command. And I guess there's value in watching me go through this whole exercise and ordeal. Because wiring up ReactiveUI can be difficult. Reactive command. Oh, see? So I gave somebody that exact advice earlier, like you have to be careful when you create reactive commands because you'll get weird stuff if you don't do it properly. And there I go, messing it up. Event args. And what do I want to pass back? A unit? Is that good enough? So we'll do cancel command. Get set save. So here somewhere. Yeah, we'll get to that result. Public. What's the dispose for on the binding? Ah, okay. Let me go back to that. Thank you for asking. So you're talking about this dispose with. So this dispose with. I actually can probably just bring this up over here today, huh? Yeah. That still won't do me any good. So this dispose with. States that this disposable, because like binding command, I'll dig into it, right? So binding command returns an iReactive binding. iReactive binding is an iDisposable. So it returns an iDisposable, right? And that iDisposable that it returns will be disposed with this view bindings. So whenever I dispose of this view bindings, which view bindings is just a composite disposable. A composite disposable just says, give me a bunch of disposables and I'll dispose of them when I dispose. So it's basically just a bag of disposables. I can instead of having to hold on to a reference, right? So technically to do this, what I would have to do is I would have to hold on to an actual reference of let's do underscore cancel. Oh, if I could type cancel command equals that, right? So we create a field. That's going to be an iReactive binding, which is basically an iDisposable. So I'm just going to change it to iDisposable because I just want the super type. I don't really care about the underlying type, right? So it's going to return a disposable. So then this disposable that it returns, I would then, when I go to dispose of my page, or like if I went and did something in like the override disappearing, right? So if I went in here and did this, right, I would have to do that for every single binding on that page. Like this would become very tedious very fast. So what dispose with does is makes it so that all I have to do is grab this view binding disposable and dispose of it. So it'll automatically clean up all that stuff for me, right? And it's just a simple extension method that says, hey, go ahead and, oh, I need to change that right now because that's confirmed. That's going to have to be cancel, and that's going to have to be cancel. So another thing I found out, if you use the toEvent, like the string, as part of, oh gosh, so smart. If you use that, if these two things are not unique, the bindings will act weird. So I learned that like a week ago. I was like, I probably already knew it, but like I forgot about it and was like, oh wait, and then like it happened. So okay, there you go. What are you gonna do? All right, so I've got a cancel command. I've got a confirm command. I'm gonna go to my view model now. So did that answer the question being asked? I always want to make sure that I answer the question. Equals reactive command.create from observable event handler, or no, it's gonna be args. So let's just do, oh yeah, we just want to do execute confirm. Yeah, that's just a handy trick. And like ReactiveUI has a when activated that does a lot of that for you and ties into the platform. On Xamarin Forms, I don't do it because Xamarin Forms has had a bug for a while with its appearing disappearing. So if you don't catch the right lifecycle method, you'll inadvertently kind of break more than you fix in the long and short of it. This is going to be unit. I think this is going to yell at me and tell me that it has to take an event args. Yeah, that's what it's going to tell me. And then it's going to tell me that it can't do that. So create overload. Brr. Oh, this has to know types. So it has to know the type of the parameter. So this was actually exactly what the person was asking earlier, is like they didn't understand this. And that's why I was like, this is a compile time error. Like it should give you enough information. So here, right, this is telling me that it can't infer the type, right? So this warning says type reactive command T param result. It doesn't know how to deal with this. So basically what it's doing is it just wants me to provide a type. So I need to provide the type that's coming into it, i.e. the same type that I should have defined the command as, right? So this will take the same type as the type of the command, and now it should take it, and now this can go back to being a method group. Ha! So I'm not actually going to do anything with the event args, so I don't technically need that, but I don't really want to convert it to a signal either, so there's that. This is probably just going to return like nothing. Return unit.default. Oh wait, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's just going to return and say it did a thing, and then oh no, it has to set a result, doesn't it? Dang it, dang it, dang it. Okay, we can do something with that in a minute. Because I think what I'm going to end up having to do is like provide a result back. So result can be an observable of confirm / command or confirm / cancel return truth for whichever ticks. Whichever. Okay, so yeah, so we can do that later. I think right now I'm just gonna continue trucking along so I can get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. I am trying to prove a point. The other point that I'm going to prove is I'm going to be a good steward of my code and put stuff where it belongs. These methods I don't actually need anymore, but I want to hold on to them, so I'm going to comment these out. But I think I want to do this with like a block comment because I want, dude, so good. Because I just want to condense it, but I don't want to actually get rid of it. And I don't want to put a region around it because regions are bad. All right, so that can be shrunk, and we can actually move this whole bit down to the bottom. And then we'll do another one of these. We'll call this execute cancel. So that's going to do the same thing. It's just going to return. This is going to be execute cancel. This is going to be cancel command. I actually think I'm going to now take the command off because I don't like to put that in there. Apply name refactoring. Apply name refactoring. Okay, so we're going to come back to this here result thing in a bit, I have a feeling, because we're going to end up creating an observable that says whatever the value is. I don't know if it's actually going to be an observable that we pass back or if it's going to be something that needs to tick, but I think that's going to be a thing. So there's all sorts of reading that you can do on this, and I'll just sum up what I've read and what I believe, and I'll just say this. Some people will say that regions are good because you can section off pieces of code, right? So you can make a file that's really big, small, and condensed, right? Because like you saw me, I can do the same thing with the region, right? Like I can just condense the region. So from that perspective, they're good. Now, here's the problem. Just like with everything, when you have diametric oppositions, the people that see that as a positive see that as a negative. So, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. The people that think that that's amazing think it's amazing for the same reason that the people that think it's bad think it's bad. People say that that if that's what you're doing in order to reduce your cognitive load of your file size, then you have a file size problem and you need to fix that problem. So it's not so much that regions are bad, like with everything, moderation. It's that if it's just like, you know, if you give a junior dev a hammer and you teach him how to hit the nail, everything is going to look like a nail because he's got a hammer. So, you know, they're going to start using regions everywhere, and then you have regions everywhere instead of refactoring the code and making the file smaller. Now, some people will say, hey, I want everything. Some people will say that, you know, feature slices is bad and just put all the code in one code file. And I'm like, you know what? You know, do you? If that's what is effective for your team and you can produce value that way and it doesn't hinder your velocity, more power to you. I could not work in an environment like that effectively. So, you know, yeah, it does make sense, you know, when you look at it. But like, and that's the long and short of it. And so like, I don't see either way as right or wrong. I see it from the perspective of I prefer smaller code files. I prefer to separate concerns and responsibilities as clearly as I can when I'm looking at a code file. I believe in feature slices. So no regions is in line with the rest of my philosophy. That's all. So if you want to flame me because I don't like regions, go. And you know what? Look. And pharmacist is back. Now it works. Now the code file pays attention and I don't need these bindings. You know, some days I get so frustrated with things working when they're supposed to. Because I know they work. It's not that they work or they don't. It's that they don't work when I want them to work. Anybody else? So cancel, which is a button. It's going to have an event click, and we're going to click the cancel there. So I'm actually going to comment out these bindings real quick because I want to use pharmacist because I like pharmacist. I just like the I like the way this reads. This reads to me more like an observable, which technically is what is happening. And because I have this invoke command extension, I kind of get like the best of both worlds. If I didn't have this invoke command extension, I'd probably prefer bindings because there's some stuff that it does under the hood, but this is fun. I like this. Now, I think the only thing I don't get when I do it this way is execution safety on the button. So like certain UI frameworks will disable buttons by default if their can execute is false. So I don't think I get that here, but I might be able to still get it, but I don't care about that right now because I'm not dealing with that. But I've actually also started like actually fully changing the color schemes of buttons altogether. So it's not just, oh, it's opaque, its opacity changed a little bit. No, it's like an actual different color when it's in the other state. So okay, so I've got all that wired up. I don't know what this is gonna look like. I gotta give it a message though, don't I? I should be using that somewhere. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll just run it and see what happens. At this point, we don't care. Let's see what's going on in the simulator. Yay. Team Rocket blasting off again. All right, interactions are doing things, so we're all wired up. We've got our confirm, which is what we're playing with right now. So we're playing with this confirm. And now we get to the code that I actually wanted to talk about. So we've got that. We click confirm. Confirm doesn't actually navigate us away, so we need to do that. We need to make sure that it navigates us away from this pop-up. Okay, so we'll do that. I'm actually going to go steal a peek at Rg.Plugins.Popup. Somebody smarter than me has hopefully figured this out so I can cheat off of them. So we'll go back to the code then, and we'll go look at the confirm. So effectively what we need to do in the view model here, oh, I'm going to cheat and it's going to be horrible, but whatever. So we're going to have a pop-up navigation instance. So I'm just not adhering to any solid principle right now. I'm just proving that things work. So, you know, pop async.to observable. Okay, yeah, here we're back to it. We need to, it's going to pop it. But but it's going to wait for the disappearing, so it doesn't matter, right? Just because it popped doesn't, we might actually run into some like really weird RX hole right here, but we're going to go to town anyway. And then we're going to come back up here and we're going to say underscore result equals, and that's going to be create field observable. Observable is property helper bool result. Result is going to equal this dot rate any observable x dot confirm. Oh no. Yes. That is going to be even more epic. X dot oh wait, x dot cancel. We're gonna bring these down so that we can see what we're doing. This is gonna be here. All right, so we got the cancel is executing. Okay, so maybe it's not my screen, maybe it's my light. Ow. Is executing. and then we're going to do a selector, and we're going to say confirm cancel, and we're going to select that out, and we're going to say, oh, how do we, like, I'm blanking at the moment trying to figure out how to do this properly. So we're going to take confirm as confirm, and we're going to take cancel as not. Oh wait, there we go. Okay, so we're going to take confirm as cancel as cancel, and we're going to do confirm or oh, we kind of want these to be distinct. Distinct until changed. Yeah, we at least want that, right? Because we don't want it to just give us a value immediately. So if confirm comes through, we want all right, so let's just break this out and say we'll do this the hard way, right? So if confirm return confirm, if cancel return false. So that's basically what we're trying to do, right? Dot to property this x dot result, which this needs to just be a Boolean value that returns underscore result dot value. What are we still complaining about? What don't we like? Add return statement. Why are we adding another return statement? Return true. Will that reduce that? It won't reduce that because those are two different things. Confirm return. It wants me to add another return. So basically we want to say if it's confirm and not cancel, return true. Can we return false otherwise? Like, is that a thing? Can we do that? Will that work? Otherwise, return false. Like I said, it's not confirm. I think that's the only time we want to return true is when it's confirm and not cancel. So I think that's fine. Replace with return. I have a feeling I'm not going to like that in a minute. So we'll put a breakpoint there. We'll set that to property. That's set. We can set the default. Oh, this is like a return something value initial value. Is false, right? So the initial value would be false. I know it tells me that. Okay, so I can just remove the redundancy. All right, so all that's wired up. So let's go give this ugly thing. Oh, I was looking at how to add. Okay, so we'll see how this works. All right, so we still don't have. We need to wire up the message. Yeah, so we'll do this dot one-way bind. Even though I don't have a message right now, I don't really care. x dot message dot text. That'll be set. We'll do the same thing here. We'll dispose with view bindings. Message doesn't exist. Let's create property message. Be a string. Underscore message. Create field set enter. This dot raise instead of changed. Ref underscore message value. All right, so we're all set up for our reactivity there. And I know I'm making this heavy. I'm making this heavy on purpose because I want to give a little bit more fidelity into possibilities. Maybe that result doesn't exist there because that's on the view anyway. So we're actually, okay, so here it's going to yell. So confirmation page dot view model dot result hides outer local variable with the same name. Where is this outer local variable that you speak of? It's interesting that I still end up awaiting it. Oh, because I want the result. All right, so we're going to put a breakpoint here. We're going to put a breakpoint here. We're probably going to come back to this Rg.Plugins.Popups. I still want to understand what I missed in that size my pop-up page. Ooh, hopefully somebody is smarter than me and was just like, here, look at this. This is how you do it. Of course. So vertical options center. Just, oh, that's on the page? Okay, I'll try that. So it says on the page, ooh, I broke the view model here. Oh yeah, here we go, same thing. View model. All right, so go back to the confirmation page, and it says that on the page. Can I do that for the at the page level? No, because the page doesn't have those. So it's gonna have to be. Goodness, it's gonna have to be the view. So it's gonna be vertical options, which is gonna be center. Horizontal. We'll see how that works. Oh, are we doing things? Stop the code. I don't want to run the code just yet. Trying to come back here and see. So if the background of that is okay, so I just want to see. I'm gonna put some background colors on my junk. Background color is going to be black. Because there should be space. There should be spacing on this anyway, so we'll see how good is the spacing. Yeah. Copy. We'll put the paste. And we'll put a background color on the grid just to be safe, but we'll give this a different color. So we'll do like crimson because somebody else. No, we definitely don't want to do that. We want to do like a purple. So is that indigo? We like the indigo. Indigo, is it because it was close to purple? Yeah, there we go. So while I'm waiting for this to compile and display whether or not I want it to do what it's going to do, let's kind of talk about the whole purpose of this, which is F5 through stuff, which is this. Yeah. So I've got this this interaction that I'm using. This is I'm sorry. Yeah, debug rainbows. I just haven't added it because like I hadn't planned on really working on the UI, and I'm like, I'm here. Let me just play with it. But yes, I do use debug rainbows. That's another good NuGet package for UI work. I feel like I've done this so many times, I should know how to do it off the top of my head, but apparently I don't. So this is kind of the whole crux of the thing. I had a colleague show me how they were using Rg.Plugin.Popups to do task completion sources, and on disappearing, let me actually uncomment this code now. So yeah, now I want to uncomment the code, see how easy that is. Nope. All right, so that'll be fun. We'll just deal with that for the moment. Okay, so here, this is kind of the code that he was using in the page behind the scenes, and it was to do exactly that. So the confirmation would have a task completion source, which would defer the execution. So if you were to await this and not await anything else, when this pop-up happened, it would return this entire control flow. Instead, what he wired up was disappearing is now going to be a thing that happens when the disappearing event happens. So he's now wiring in his task completion source to the event and then allowing the disappearing task to be what returns. So that means the disappearing task is going to wait until the disappearing happens. The set result is going to happen. As soon as the set result happens, then it's going to return control back to where it's going. So this is great, right? This works. He said it works, Rodney. He's like, I like it. He says flat out, I don't think he's starting to use RX, and he says to me, he's like, I don't think that this is something that RX should handle. He's like, this is a clean separation. I said, yeah, but, right? Because it's always this yeah, but, because I talk a lot. Surprise, surprise. I talk a lot about how observables can be used to model things that we already understand in the .NET framework, events, asynchronous programming. And here's a place where I always talk about the mythical unicorn of taking a task and making it an observable, and then taking an event, making it an observable, combining them together, and then doing something with that result. And all the time people say, oh, Rodney, that's great, but I would never do that. So does anybody see the hypocrisy if one was to say that with this? Because what are we really doing? We are combining tasks with events. I'm going to let that sink in. So here, he is explicitly combining tasks and events. And what I say all the time is observables gives us a common API or a common language to deal with these events and these tasks. So he says to me, well, how would you do it? And I struggled. I'm not going to lie. I struggled and I fumbled. The first approach that I went down actually ended up being closest to the correct approach. I had to ask a RX guru to help me see what I didn't see. And the problem was I was using the wrong operator, not that I didn't approach the problem correctly. And I also missed probably one other thing that I'm going to talk about right now. But this is what he proposed. And again, I always talk about sticking these things together. So I look at this as an opportunity to see, you talk and you preach this RX gospel, as it were. Is it right? You got to question your faith. You can't just have blind faith, right? So okay, does observables allow me to do that? And does it allow me to do it cleaner, better, cheaper, faster, whatever the case may be, right? So I will point out a couple of things about this implementation, right? We are newing up a task completion source. Generally don't like to new up anything. I understand newing up the confirmation page here. I won't get into that right now. That's another conversation for another day. So that I can accept because I'm doing the same thing for right now. I'll probably clean that up at some other point in the future, but for now that's fine. So we're newing up a task completion source. New is bad to me. If I can avoid it, I will. We are giving it a event handler, and then we're saying when the event disappears, unsubscribe the event handler, which is good. So we're at least being a good steward of event handlers and not making memory leaks. We're awaiting the instance of the push async, and we're disappearing the task, right? And then we're setting the task completion, or we're awaiting the task, and when it disappears, we're setting the task completion source. So again, it's not that this is bad by any stretch of the imagination. That is not the point. The point is if we say observables can do these things, then we have to be able to prove that it can do these things, and we should try and solve the problems with Rx. It's a tool that we have in our toolbox. Now, I won't say that every tool can be or should be solved with Rx, but when I'm playing around and tinkering, it's worth discovering, is this better? Because like next thing I would want to do is put this against a performance test and see which way is more performant. Because if my way gives a clear performance boost or allocates less memory because we're not newing up a task completion source, or whatever the case may be, I don't know, right? Or worst case, the other way is more efficient. I can concede that point, right? Okay, so I don't win on the performance angle, but let's look at the things and put them together and see what actually works. So that's where that all came from. So I wired that into my main page, into my interaction, and the friend that helped me basically said, this is basically what we're doing, is do like a task.winAll is what this is doing. And I'll bring the other code directly next to it just so you can see it for the moment, right? Because I want to talk about it where it lives, not where it is commented out. No, that's fine, right? So we'll just put it here. So as you can see, yeah, go ahead, resolve all the stuff. If I just take that off, it'll just be a local function and then it can live its life. So here what we're doing is mimicking this to get the same result to a degree. The difference is I don't have to wait on a task completion source, and I'm wiring directly into the event. Again, I'm using Pharmacist to generate my events. If you use Rx and you haven't used Pharmacist, please go out and go to NuGet.org, type in Pharmacist, and thank me later. Because, well, don't thank me, thank the guy who wrote it, because Pharmacist has solved a lot of concerns that I didn't like. But anyway, so here what I'm doing is I'm awaiting the pop-up navigation. So the only reason why I'm doing this is because if I was to do this differently, I would end up doing something completely different. Like I would have to subscribe to this and then set the output context here. So I mean, I can show you what that would look like, but explicitly here, I'm just kind of doing some observable nonsense. So I'm doing the push async on the confirmation page, right? I'm just piping it to an observable. I'm doing a fork join. So now this is where I say I had the wrong operator. I was trying to do this with a combined lattice, and then I thought about it. I was like, oh, maybe I should use a zip. When you go to the Rx docs or when you go to reactivex.io and you look for fork join on the operators page, and you click on it, it will take you to the documentation for zip, and it won't explain to you what fork join actually is capable of. So because, and this is a key point, because observables are values emitted over time, that's how it deals with asynchronous programming. It's just values emitted over time. When I'm actually dealing with this event, I can only take one, right? And this is where I got tripped up. I can only take one, because if I wait this, have a good night and a good rest of your weekend. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for interacting with me. I appreciate it. So this take one is basically saying I don't care about the lifetime of events. I just care about one event. So because our confirmation page is only ever in reality going to give us one, this is the same as creating the task completion source and awaiting the task, right? Awaiting that disappearing task. This is the same as this effectively, because I'm saying give me the event and just take one event, and then give me the result of the confirmation page at that point. So again, this is another thing that I actually want to try and clean up and see if I can make this a little bit less the way it is, for lack of a better term. Maybe I send in X, X is, no, X can't be this, but like I want this to be just a little bit cleaner. Maybe I find a way to actually pass the result back or something, don't know. It'd be kind of hard here with this. Oh, but I have to do a select out because I have to select something for my result selector for my fork join. So what fork join does is this. Fork join says these two observable sequences are going to run in parallel. So you've got two parallel tracks, and there can be n number and m number of values that tick off either observable, right? So they can have the same number, different number, doesn't matter. Fork join just says whatever the last element that happens before the onComplete, give me that value. And give me that value off of both of them. So I could have this thing ticking all day, all night, all day, all night. This fork join won't pay attention until the last values. So because I'm taking one here, because I'm taking one here, this is going to take one, and then this is going to give me a value, and then this is only providing one value because it's a task, so it's going to already have been completed because the pop-up has already pushed. So this will complete, then this will happen, and then the fork join will give me the value of those two observable sequences, right? So, or I can do this with n number of observable sequences. I don't know what the limit on fork join is, but I know that you can add this. This is the second one. I'm sure you can probably do a couple more. What this is going to do is this. Now I'm going to select it out. I'm going to get my result, and then I'm going to take the context of my interaction and set it. So I'm going to show the control flow of this, and I'm going to show that the pop-up happens and none of this context does not get set immediately. All right, so the pop-up happens. Okay, I get the new confirmation page. Yay. Oh, look, there's my page. Yeah, you know what, Rodney? You, sir, are some kind of brilliant. Trans. Maybe we set it at like grade, right? So like maybe it's like some type of gray. Gray. Yeah, okay, so at least that way. Okay, so maybe we need to add this system padding, or maybe we need to add padding here. No, because it's clearly showing the entire page. We only wanted to show part of that page. Save. Okay, that saves part of the problem. Anyway, so here the confirm should do something. So let's see if our logic was correct. Yeah, so let's just put a breakpoint there. Oh, yeah, we already got a breakpoint there. So click confirm. Okay, what do we do wrong? Is it at least getting to there? Okay, so let's do an observe on RxApp.MainThreadScheduler just to see, because maybe we think we're on a background. But I mean, the navigation happens on the main thread. This is broken, so let's fix that by doing what? What's broken on this page? Go away. Go away. See, we can set up a nice frosty background later or something, because I'm gonna play with this a little bit more. I'm gonna keep playing with this because I like playing with this. This is fun. So we got the confirm pop-up, click events. So now that I do cancel, confirm, cancel. Well, maybe Rodney is losing his mind. Let's try this. Let's see what happens. Close. Oh yeah. All right, so we'll go over to, we'll click confirm over here. We'll get a confirmation page. The binding happens, the confirm happens. What does this button do? Okay, so I got something weird going on with I am passing a confirm page, right? Oh, derp. Derp. I do this every time too. Like you would think that after like the 5th time somebody would learn not to do the thing that they're doing, but no. I keep on keeping on because I am brilliant. Yeah, because it's not going through my IOC container currently, I need to new up the view model explicitly. So again, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All right, so now this confirm should do stuff. Okay, visit method, call, expression writer, what broke? Which one though? Dispatch, core methods, reactive dialog, main dialog 71. Main dialog view model 71. Line 71. How is that even a thing? Like, that didn't happen 10 minutes ago. Hold on 1 second. It's gotten warm in here. Okay, so now I'm actually genuinely trying to figure this out. What did I break? Yeah, move that out. That's fine. It's telling me main view model handle.subscribe, execute confirm, usage there. So of course it's got to be the confirmation, right? Obviously the confirmation is throwing some random thing that requires my attention. So let's go ahead and, come on, give it attention. It's gonna whine and scream like a little baby. I'm not gonna do what you want me to do. Okay, so it's doing that thing. It's doing the thing. Okay, so it's registered. Some days. All right, so that does a thing. It's not actually popping up the page. I'm gonna call shenanigans here in a minute, because if you look at the simulator, it's not actually doing. All right, so now I'm starting to get lost in my own code. I do not. Okay, so we should be hitting. Oh, it's not even displaying. And the only thing we did was allocate this. So let's allocate this at the end. And maybe this needs to happen to observable dot observe on rx app dot main thread scheduler. Right, because maybe that's what that requires. I don't know. I feel like I'm mixing this async with this. This is going to be bad for me, but we'll see how this goes. Because like awaiting things that are supposed to happen on the main thread seems weird to me. So it seems that I have misplaced a pop-up page somewhere. Because I don't even see it popping up now. I think the background colors were fine. We were seeing it. Let's just change this like padding equals 120, right? Just to see what happens. Now you get to see me fight with Xamarin Forms UI. I don't care about that right now. I get that you're registering it. I click confirm. So legitimately, the only thing I really changed was adding that new view model. So you're going to tell me that having a view model causes a problem? That doesn't make any sense. So you are going to tell me that wiring up the view model broke everything. How does that even make sense? You are legitimately going to try and get me to believe that clicking on this All right, so here's a benefit for doing it the pharmacist way. Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back. Let's come here. Let's comment these out, save. Let's uncomment these. Instead of invoking a command, I'm going to do a .subscribe. And then where was I doing whatever I was doing in this execute? Oh, but now it's not actually going to hit the... So I need that to happen in order for my view model to do this to property and do all the flipping work that I want to do. So I have to solve this problem. Yay. All right, we'll go back and we will figure this out. So what are we missing? So we know that when we set the... Just to make sure we're paying attention. Event clicked. Is there like a tapped? There's got to be another. There's a series of events. There's a clicked event. There's a pressed event. Maybe we want pressed. Let's go with pressed. Because pressed sounds better than clicked. So we'll stop this. I just want to see again in like plain sight that this is actually a thing that is happening. And maybe I need to just clean my solution. Maybe that's my problem. I can accept that. Confirm, getting the confirmation pop-up. Okay. So now it's doing the thing. It's displaying it. Right? And because it's an Rg.Plugin.Popup page, when we click outside of its box, it goes away. So it's doing the disposable. All right, so if I kill that, what are we missing? What are we not seeing? How about this? I got one for you. This will be sure to rattle their cages. Equals new confirm view model. Yeah, let's see how that one works out. Because it's just an object, so we can use object initializer. Yay! So this is like one of the like features that when it first started, I was like, oh, why would you do that? It's just like eventually it grew on me, but like C# has just continued to evolve during the time I've used it as a language as a professional. All right, so can we get... That is so strange. Yeah, because... it just flat out doesn't even put a page on the... How is that a real thing? Like, the only difference is that I'm setting... Oh, let me do here. It shouldn't matter. Man, I did this literally last week and it worked. So now I'm getting varied experiences from where I do it. Seems bad. Okay, so when I click this confirm button, what does this button do? It's going to execute confirm. It's going to add a new one. handling is handling it. Subscribing to it. Okay, the only way I can think to change this looks like it was working. Now it's not. I should be able to do something along the lines of return select unit.default. Yeah. Okay, so that makes that less awkward, but oh, okay. Okay. I see what's going on. Do you see what's going on? Maybe this is probably not what's going on, but I'm gonna try it anyway and act like I know. So wait, where was I? I think we're talking about the confirmation pop-up. All right, we're talking about the confirmation pop-up. Talking about the fact that it's being pressed. We're explicitly giving it a value here. Okay. Confirm. Okay, so it needs to happen in the interaction when we set it up. Okay. So this was working not 20 minutes ago, I swear. Confirmation page dot view model equals new confirmation view model. Context dot input dot message. All right, so that'll at least like set the message, maybe, if this works. Hopefully this works, because I'm getting kind of I don't know what I'm doing. Use object initializer. Initialize all the object. All right, so if I'm doing it there, then I don't need it here because it's going to override it, which is exactly what I don't want. So let's I mean, I technically create the entire thing on the UI thread, right? So that won't matter if I do. So all I was going to do is where it's boxed and unboxed, and it doesn't matter because I'm not seeing it. Okay, so it just won't create the page. As long as I want to provide a view model, it will not create the page. So what do? Okay, so I can do I need to do stuff there. I don't want to do any of that. All right, so I'm probably going to call this here shortly because I am a little tired. It's been a long week, and I seem to be waffling, and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong. Because like everything looks right. I take the view model off, and it works. I add the view model, and it won't show up. And I don't know what that looks like in my brain right now. Give you an understanding of what we're looking at. So I click this confirm button. Yep. And I get this really ugly style page. Great. Yep. Okay. So then if I stop it, come back over here, add a view model. All right. So the only thing I've done is add a view model. And then I go and run the debugger again. And I click the confirm button, and I'm debugging through code, and the page never shows up. So I'm assuming it's got something to do with the fact that I'm creating it inside the interaction context, which is technically not happening on the main thread. So if I do like a dispatch without an invoke on main thread, maybe it might work. But I'm tired and I could use a break, so I'm gonna get up, have a walk around, stretch my legs. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully at least you got to see the important part of tonight, which is we can do the same thing using tasks, but we can create a very fluent, technically one line of code to do the exact same thing. And I say technically one line of code because it's one line of code broken up by operator. So, you know, one line of code gets you the same as 10 others. But neither here nor there. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you looking. This code will probably be up on GitHub sometime in the near future. Have a good night and have a good weekend.